Welcome to Plates and Palates. I'm Jenny Handley, founder and curator of the annual JHP Gourmet Guide with its plate ratings and editor of the bi-monthly Gourmet Guide magazine. I take pleasure in taking you with me behind the scenes to secret spots and to meet the chefs who make our fine dining industry what it is today. I'm thrilled to be with Ashley Moss of Fane. Welcome to the show, Ashley.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks for having me.
So since meeting Ashley many years ago when he was at the greenhouse, I've always wondered what happens under Ash's cap. You could not meet a more creative chef, but one with precision and a complete dedication to the craft. And I want to find a little bit more about, firstly, how you ignited and your love affair with Japan, how it started and where it's taken you.
I think it started many years ago when I was still a child. Instant ramen, anime, and just like a love affair with Japan in general. Like completely, I was just blown away by the culture, the food, everything. When I was really young, I went out to the library. I got a book on Japanese kanji, and I was convinced I was going to learn Japanese. I was going to know how to speak it, and I was completely overwhelmed. I put it on the back burner, but I've since recently started picking that up again. And I think that's where it all started, from childhood, just a love affair with just the entire country, the culture, and the food. My mum was a great cook, so I got exposed to a lot of good cooking when I was younger as well.
It's so interesting. So many chefs I chat to always refer to their mother or their grandmother. And then I think added to that as a foundation, often it's another cuisine, it's another country that teaches them something. For me, Japan is very much about technique and precision. But I also have amazing admiration for chefs there who are prepared to devote their entire lives to perfecting one aspect of their craft. They, a sushi chef, they'll spend years learning how to make the rice. What do you think is better, to know what you ultimately want to specialize in or to start exposing yourself to everything?
I don't think anything is either better or worse. I think it's got to do a lot with personal fulfillment. So I think in whatever you're doing, if you find that you're completely fulfilled with what you're doing and you're kind of satiated in the way that you are continuing your journey through maybe a culinary path that you've chosen or anything else, I think that's the correct path for you to be on. So whether it's specializing in just one thing that makes you truly happy and you're in search of perfection, or if you need a bit of variety and you want to explore different things and that sort of kind of thing, I think either one, as long as whatever you're doing, you're putting a lot of passion behind it.
Which you certainly are. And actually, I'm not sure that everybody knows your role and your love affair with ramen, because we've got Ramen Head downstairs below Fane. That's also something quite special for you.
I mean, I think that started, like I said, 2-minute noodles, watching anime, it's kind of the quintessential Japanese cool street food kind of thing. And then when I actually went to Japan and I experienced it for myself for the first time, I was completely blown away by, I was a chef at that time. I'd been a chef for more than 10 years. And the complexity of the dish, the simplicity in appearance and presentation and what it is. And it's a bowl of noodles with some soup and some toppings. And then you get into it and you start stripping away the layers and you uncover the kind of science behind it, the tradition behind it, everything, and it goes into making these bowls of ramen, and you get these chefs that just dedicate themselves wholeheartedly into creating one spectacular dish their whole lives. And I mean, I was blown away, fell in love with it instantly.
So I always think the end result of Japanese cooking, you feel there's a level of simplicity about it, but as you say, when you start unpacking those layers, and also I love the fact that for many of the chefs in Japan, there's a true relationship between what they're presenting in the bowl or on the plate to that actual receptacle itself. Yes. And I feel the dining experience here at Fane replicates that so beautifully. It's absolutely every aspect. From the acoustics, I'm loving the loud, noisy background in the kitchen, to the lighting, to the comfort of the chair, to how everything's placed, the texture of the table. And people always think a chef is just involved in creating and crafting the food. What part of the journey of getting a dish to the table is the most exciting for you?
I think when you look at something like that and you take into the Japanese kaiseki sort of experience. It's like a tea ceremony. It's a whole experience. It's got to do with the food. It's got to do with the crockery. It's got to do with the presentation on the table. It's got to do with the feeling. You're trying to, I think at the end of the day, when someone comes and eats at a restaurant like Fane, we're trying to have some sort of emotional connection with the experience, with the dining experience. It isn't just sitting down and having a plate of food that's delicious. Of course, I mean, that's really important, but we're trying to do something a bit more than that. And I think when thinking about the creative process and everything that goes into an entire menu and a menu experience, and curating that whole dining experience as thinking of it as a whole thing, when we think about it, we think of some of the parts is greater than the whole kind of thing. And with I think creating the elements of a dish and elements of a menu, we take that into account. That whole sum of the parts is greater. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So it's a lot of little things done right. And I think when we're coming into creativity and things like that, we can look at maybe a scientific perspective. Maybe it's like marginal gains, like this cup is just right, or this bowl is just right for that, or this. Or we can look at it as more of like a natural sort of approach to things, like aesthetically, how does that feel? How do you feel when you receive that dish? How do you feel when you drink out of that cup? Or if it's wine, how does that wine feel out of that cup? Or that sake feel out of that cup? It's kind of like, at the end of the day, as much as we look into things, it's still an emotional connection with the experience that the diners are having.
Very much so. And also I think multi-sensory. It's you actually drawing on the diners every sense to get the full impact of what you do.
Yes.
So about creativity, I've always said under that cap there's a high level of intellect. You are an intellectual chef. There's incredible precision, but the creativity is what always bowls me over. How do you find creativity in your everyday?
I think creativity is something that is part of who you are. You've got to be open to it. I mean, everyone can be creative, and it's not an exclusive thing. I think that it's just having that openness and willingness to be to accept the creative energy around you, and I think that's one of the things is you can't switch off and on. People often think about work as work, and at home I'm at home, and then they go through the week and they look forward to the weekend, or like they're trying to turn on and off. But I think if you really are creative and you open it to the whole time and you love what you're doing, it's kind of something that's just going to happen organically and naturally, whether you're taking a walk in the mountains or you've gone for a surf or wherever it is, something will spark and your brain will make those connections because you're constantly open to making the connections. And I think that for me is one of the most important parts of the creative process is always being on, always being open to it.
And being receptive.
Yes,
Absolutely,
yeah,
no doubt, I'm sure. And Ash, when you trying to conceptualize a new dish, what comes first? Is it how it's going to look? Is there a particular ingredient that you want to have fun with? Is there a flavor that you're trying to create? How does it, or is it always different? But how does a dish start in your head?
I think it's always different. I mean, it's always something new. It might be an idea that I've had or seen somewhere, or something that maybe Pete and I have discussed, and then maybe it comes up months later where you're like, wow, that was a really cool concept, or let's explore that a bit more. Or, I mean, I've had things that inspired me, which has been like TV shows or something. I'll see something, I'll be watching something on a TV show that's kind of interesting, and then look it up and do a bit of research around it, and then do a little dive into things and be like, oh, okay, maybe something like a fishkill shrike is quite an interesting bird. What do? They impale things on acacia trees. Wow. Don't you think it'd be cool to serve something on an acacia branch? And that kind of thing, just constantly, or it can come from ingredient. We have amazing suppliers, foragers, and people that just bring you something, they put something in front of you and you're like, wow, what can I do with that? Where am I going to go? How am I going to start? And that's like, it's just a constant. I've always believed it's more of like a evolution of everything. We're constantly just evolving, and that's how the dishes kind of come about, and that's how the concepts come about. It's things that you've obviously based a lot on your experience as well. When it's got to do with your own personal experiences come and play a lot on what you do with something, and how I think you transform dishes into your kind of through your creative process, you transform a dish into like its reality, its fruition, kind of thing. Yeah.
Wow. So it's so interesting as a diner who has the joy of enjoying this culinary experience, there's a flow that makes it feel seamless and effortless, but so much goes into what's happening behind the scenes. And I always think it's such an integrated whole house here. Front of house, back of house, it all just integrates into one beautiful evening or lunch. What do you think is the defining moment for somebody when they come here? Where's their aha moment? Is it when the first dish comes, or when they leave and they've had the whole experience?
I'd like to think it might be a combination of the two. I would like to think that when people walk in initially, they're kind of like, okay, I think a lot of people have expectations, and I mean that's one of the things with when you're like a highly plated restaurant or anything, people come there with a certain level of expectation, and I always want to just put that aside and be like, that's their expectation, but we're doing something more. We're gonna exceed their expectations in every way possible, and coming in and seeing the restaurant and everything, that's part of it. You set them up, that like you set the tone for the dining experience, and then from the first dish you want them to try to go through the whole menu, and then at the end of it be like, okay, have that kind of epiphany linked with euphoria, feeling of this was an experience that was something else, and I felt emotionally connected to what I was doing. I felt a sense of joy, happiness. It was delicious, everything all together. And I think that can only come at the end of the meal, and I think maybe even the next day.
Yes.
When people think about it, yeah.
And then when you tell friends about it, and it's not a case of, I had this amazing experience. It's about sharing the joy. I always feel a meal here will start with the anticipation. The minute you've got your confirmation that you know when you're going, I start to get excited from then. And I love that afterglow of the meal, when you actually still wonder how they did this. And I think there's incredible joy before, during, and after when you come to Faye. So you've got a big job, and I know you work long hours and you're very dedicated. And I then discovered that you also are studying Japanese in your free time.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that was part of the whole, from a childhood, wanting to immerse myself in the culture, and I just thought I had to do it. And traveling to Japan, like trying to get there as often as possible and make connections with people, I found that if I learned the language and I took the time to do that I would be able to break down barriers and have a bit of a better genuine connection and get a bit more out of my experience there. And it has been the case, 100%. It's been, and it's a journey that I've started, and I'm going to continue for the rest of my life.
It's exciting. Yes, wonderful. So what can you tell me about, I can't call it a job, but about your role in this industry? If you could change one thing, what would it be?
In the industry as a whole, I think it's something that is already changing, and that I don't want to disrespect the old guard at all and the way things are going, because obviously everyone moves with the times and things. But I find that chefs are leaning more towards a mentoring kind of role when it comes to management of the kitchen, and how staff are treated in a way, and how we see the future of the people that work with us, and how we value the people that work with us. So I think that kind of whole shift, I think we're already on a good trajectory, and I think that would continue. I think if we see more of that, I think we're going to see better chefs coming out of the industry, and more with a lot more creativity, passion, and people that just genuinely have like a zest for what they do.
Well, I think you, of everyone, you are setting such a fine example in that way, because you are so obviously immersed in everything that you do and drawing great pleasure from it. So we as the diner do that as well. So thank you for that, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Amy. It was a privilege. Thank you.